today I want to talk about our ascending signs. So have you ever met a shy Leo or a Libra ascending sign that was not social at all? And how come that there is so many differences between the ascending sign, and they can vary so much and be so different in expression according to their more generic descriptions? So I was looking into what is it that makes our ascending sign so different? What kind of elements to the ascending sign makes it so have such big variation, where somebody said, but you're not a Leo ascending at all. You don't like to be the center of attention, and you don't like to be, everybody looking at you and praise you all the time. To take like a classic generic one. Then we have to look more at what is going on around the ascendant, what is going around in terms of aspects to the ascendant, and as well if you have any planets in your first house, because that will color tremendously how you express your ascending sign, like how clean and close to the traditional generic ascending sign that you were allocated when you were born. And I want to take a little bit of a look as well as at the ruler, because the ruler becomes very much the director of your ascending sign, what it styles it, in which area of life you really are going to express it. So ascending sign is so much more than just the mask or the outward physical presence that we see when we meet a person. It's also the energy behind it. It's the element that rules it. It's the modality that is behind it as a quality of expression. And then everything else going on with the ruler. Where's the ruler? In which house? In which house? That house will represent a bit or a lot about how you are directed in life and how you go about expressing your ascending sign and everything else in your chart. Because it is a gateway to what you show the world. And the same with any aspects to the ascendant ruler, but also any planet that has an aspect to your ascending sign, or especially if they are in the first house and close to the ascending sign. It can almost overrule it. Let's say you have Pisces ascending sign. It's like dreamy, and it can almost feel a little transparent. They're very tuned in to other people, and they're very empathetic, and they just live off this energy flowing, and they don't know where they can pick it up from, but it's present to them. It's like very real, things that other people don't see. Then you have Uranus in the first house side on the ascendant, very close, and you will give off a completely different vibe. You'll be more Aquarius in your expression. You will be there will be this more independent. There will not be this focus on other people's feelings. There'll be more like you're more directed by your own vision, your own how you look ahead. You will go for very independent thoughts, not be so influenced by other people's energies and feelings that you get. So it was almost like it can overrule the ascending sign. And then take like a Leo. So a Leo's ruler is the sun. So if you have your sun, your Leo ascending sign, and you have your sun in the 10th house, you will want to shine in public. You want people to see you. You want people to notice you and your public standing, your sort of reputation, and how people see you in the public life. It's very important for you. And you will be directed towards focusing on how you present yourself, what you achieve in the public arena. As a contrast, you are a Leo ascending sign, and the ruler sun is in the 8th house. You want to shine inwardly. You don't focus so much on the how your persona is perceived in public, because you got a whole lot going on an inward area of yourself. You have a completely different way. You shine inside. You shine light on everything that is going on inside of you. So if you take those two, if you say those two Leo ascending, one with the sun in the 10th and one with sun in the 8th, they will come across very, very differently, just because the ruler is in different houses. And I didn't even get into signs here, because that will also get a very strong flavor of what you need to incorporate into your ascending sign. And it's also a way of becoming, conscious about, learning your chart and knowing where your ruler is, knowing which sign it's in. And take Libra, for example. It's usually considered a very sociable sign. It had this social grace. They can go in any room and get conversations started. And they are curious and they love to be in social settings. It's their thing. But if you have Libra in the fourth house, for example, the ruler Venus in the fourth house, you might be much more concerned about being social in your family setting in the fourth house area. And if you have in the fifth house, you might be more concerned with, more creative, using that energy for more creative connections, create something and thereby create some sort of connection with others in your expression more artistically. So it really colors a lot your ascending sign. What else is going on the ascendant in terms of, let's say you have a Leo ascending sign, just to stay with the Leo for now, and you have a square from Saturn. So that might hinder your natural expression of wanting to be in the limelight and just be spontaneous and fun and entertaining. If you have Saturn there, you'll be more thoughtful, you'll be more grounded, you will think a little bit, is this going to land well? Is this how I want to present myself? You will rein in that spontaneity and just be a little bit more cautious. And maybe, for example, you have a strong aspect for Mercury that will maybe, support you in being more comedian, quick-witted, making jokes, being quick in your expressions and how you communicate. And of course, if you have Aries on the ascending sign, it will drive up that need for recognition and being seen by others and noticed, because you get that, mass feeling of, me first and being competitive. So together with the Leo rising and Mars, it can really create that person of, look at me, everybody, I'm the best, I'm the biggest, I'm the, whatever it is. Of course, it can also evolve and it can be a much better expression of it where, instead of thinking me first, you just become a natural leader in the way that you behave and conduct yourself. And rather than wanting to be better than everybody else, you want to bring everybody with you as a sort of in an inspirational way. So, I was thinking I'm going to go through the slides. These are more like the traditional expressions of the ascending sign, but then we bear in mind that whatever the ruler is doing in your chart, whatever sign will give it a flavor in addition to the actual ascending sign. I will talk a little bit about that as we go through the slides, but also, of course, any aspect from planets to the ascending sign will also moderate, enhance, or shape or influence the actual expression of your ascending sign. So let's see if I can share my screen and just go through this. Let me see. So let me see. We have here Aries rising. So because the ascending signs are so much more than just, your physical, it also how you move and how your energy flows, because each sign is attached to an element: fire, earth, air, or earth. What did I say? Fire, earth, air, and water. And that was, and also the modality. We have 3 modalities. Of course, we have the cardinal signs, which are attached to initiators. They are the starters of the sign. They are the leaders. They are the drivers, the action pack. Then you have, of course, the fixed signs. They are more concerned with stability, keeping things going, holding on to, not getting wavered in new direction, but really finish the job. And then you have mutable signs, which is open to new ideas, new suggestions, and getting in another direction if need be. So this will all influence as well your ascending sign if you want to break it down. So it's not just describing, some physical attributes. It's really going so much deeper with your ascending sign. So body movement with Aries is usually fast and direct and confident. Even if they're not confident, they try to appear confident because it's natural for them to want to put that quality forward. In terms of facial expressions, very often when you see Aries rising, they have a very determined gaze. They're really seeing you, and they're also seeing the way ahead. They are usually very alert because they're ruled by fire, and the modality is, cardinal. So they like to start, they like to win, they like to be leaders. They kind of feel very confident that they know the way forward. They are usually very assertive. They're quick on the trigger to make up their mind or their decision or something. And they always think, or often think, I can always adjust later on, but I'm just going to go for it and hope for the best. And then, as a contrast, you have Taurus rising, which is an earth sign. It's a fixed sign, so they are more concerned with being grounded, keeping a consistency, a stability. You can really count on the Taurus rising qualities because they will be somebody thinking before speaking and thinking before action, and everything has to have a deeper meaning for them. And they're not quick. They are slow sometimes compared to Aries. They need to have the whole body sort of supporting the decision before they can go ahead. Whereas Aries, they don't need that. They just, I feel it, I'm doing it, I'm going to go for it. They can have usually very pleasant, features and pleasant smile because it's a sign ruled by Venus, of course, the goddess of beauty. So they are often very good looking, and there is this quality about them that they're very sensual. And as I said, calm and patient and dependable, as opposed to Aries, who's impatient and they are go, go, go. Taurus like, wait a minute, let's think before we go ahead. In a room of chaos, look for the earth signs. They will be the calm ones. Then we have Gemini rising. This is an air sign and it's mutable, and so that means they are quick, expressive and animated in their body language and facial expressions. They are very connected they want to be connected with other people, they love to communicate, and they also are very easily influenced. They are mutable signs, so they take in a lot of input from others, ideas from others, and even things they just read, and they process it very quickly, and they say, well, I thought this, but now I think that, because now I have more information about it. They can be very useful in expression, and they can sometimes be called like a motor mouth or mobile mouth. They can, sometimes, can they ever stop talking? No, they can't, because they have a lot to say, because they have a lot going on in the head. It's an air sign. They process things very quickly, and they like to share it, and they like to hear other people's opinion. So their whole approach is this mixture of, air and mutability and, being quick and being witted and being interested in learning, constantly learning, and also sharing. And that is very much how they learn. By sharing. They're also very sociable, and there needs to be, somehow an audience they can connect with. Then we have Cancer rising. Cancer is a water sign, it's cardinal, and it's a sign where, usually with the water, this is the first water sign, so they are very intuitive, they're very driven by their feelings. The emotional body is very important. They connect with that, and it's very relating to family, heritage, where they come from, and they sort of incorporate that in their demeanor. So they can feel almost like, if you have the person in the office who's always taking care of everybody, remember everybody's birthday, bring the cake and so on, that might be that Cancer rising sign. There's always being a little motherly, a little bit empathetic, caring towards other people. They might initiate, so the cardinal side to them, they might initiate exactly those, let's bring everybody in, let's get the family together, let's do the celebration, and they are driven to create that homey, comfortable, safe space for themselves and for others. They're ruled by the moon, so their ruler is the moon, so you will look at where is the moon placed in your chart. How would that align naturally with the expression of your Cancer rising? So usually they will always show that sensitive, caring side, but of course, depending on where the moon is placed in which sign, that would either support that or it could pull a little bit in the other direction. So usually they can have, in sort of physical attributes, they can have this almost little baby face because of the moon. They can have a little rounded in the face, round, open eyes, and they can be very moody. They can shift very fast because, as we know, the moon fluctuates, so they're very tuned in with how the moon moves around in the zodiac. And as it stays 2.5 days in each sign, they can really feel the shift between that usually. Then we have Leo rising. I already spoke a little bit about Leo. It's a fire sign. It's a fixed sign, and so you have that fire, but it's very much moderated by where the ruler is. I seen a few Leos. I see Leos with Sun in the 8th house. They are absolutely introverted. You would not think of them as Leo, except they could have this reddish hair. There's always big on hair on the Leo ascending sign. They always have some sort of significance around the hair. It's the crown of their, on top of their head. And so having a Leo rising with the Sun in the 8th house, or the 4th house for that matter, or the 2nd house, it can really moderate how much they want to be in the public eye and how much they want to be out there, be recognized for how fun they are, how entertaining they are, or how smart they are, or how much leadership they have in them. They just have a more internal way of driving. Very often they're just being this wonderful example to others, and they don't make a big fuss of themselves with a Sun in the 8th house. They just do, and they have a natural leadership quality about them that other people take notice, but they do not pull attention towards themselves. To get that, it's sort of just natural, and they often have. They can be very warm and charismatic. They're naturally very generous. They're very generous, and they give to give, but they also like to be acknowledged for what they're giving, and obviously they also like to receive. That is a big way for them to share their love. Then we have Virgo rising. Virgo is Earth sign, and it's a mutable sign. So Virgo, if you have Virgo rising, you will be the big organizer in the office. You get the filing correct, and you will make sure everything is tidy and everything is on time, deadlines are met, for example. They're efficient, and they just know they pick up any disorder anywhere, even in the family, in their own home, in the work setting, with the friends. They'll be the one that makes things happen, that everything is organized and nothing is forgotten. So they don't like to have a big hoo-ha drama made about themselves. They just like to be of service, of help. And this is a way of them giving love. And they're usually very tuned in to other people's needs. This is the way of doing something practical and organizational for somebody else. It's a big act of love. And we all need some Virgo quality in our lives to make things happen. And Virgos are very, very good at organizing and being clear on where they're going. Then we have Libra rising. Again, here we have an air sign. It's ruled by Venus. And it's a sign where usually when you think of Libra, as I said, it's a social butterfly of the sign, shared a little bit with, not a little bit, but shared also with Gemini rising. They're usually very graceful. They're ruled by Venus, so they're very graceful, and they're very aware of how they look and how they present themselves, like impeccable dress code, hair is always very groomed, and so on and so on. They have a very refined style. They don't like disharmony. They don't like quarreling or confrontation. Remember, this is ruled by Venus. They're usually very diplomatic. They're very kind. They're very engaging. What the Libra rising sign do not like is, vulgarity and crassness and people being very direct and blunt. And this does not suit them. They like more diplomatic. Everybody should be heard. They're more about fairness. But you need to look at what do you have around your ascending sign. Do you have, what planets do you have? If you have Pluto sitting right there, you might be much more reserved, much more like the person observing the room and then drawing in conclusions about what you're seeing, and you might not want to share that so easily before you feel, you can trust the people you're with, and you might just be the big observer in the room, and people might think, well, this is the Libra rising, why are they not in the middle chatting with everybody? That is because the Pluto will then color that expression of your ascending sign. And of course, you will need to look at where is Venus in your chart. What is it doing? What other planets is it talking to? Is it flowing easily for you to express that social grace, or is it more reserved? And this will tell you a lot about how easy it is for you to express your Libra qualities, or if you need to overcome a little bit the shyness or trusting or feeling comfortable before you go up and talk to somebody. We have Scorpio rising. They are usually very intense. It's a water sign, so they're very much ruled by their intuition and their, gut feeling, how they feel. They pick up the atmosphere, the energy in the room or any setting, and they will wait it out and come out once they feel safe. They're very controlled with their feelings. They rather like you to share something first before they open their heart, because that makes them feel more safe with sharing something vulnerable. They can therefore have quite observant eyes, like you feel really sometimes the eyes see right through you, like piercing into your soul, so to speak. They can be very private, difficult to get something out of them, and you can feel a little bit observed at times. And it's just because they're curious about other people. They're curious about the dynamic, the psychological dynamic about, other people, the motivations. What are they doing? What they're doing? Why are they acting this way? They're taking all this in so they know how they can be safe in the world and how they need to respond to other people based on how they behave. So what you're going to look at here, this is a fixed sign, so they're very dependable. Once you have a Scorpio ascending sign friend, you will have a friend for life, because if you have earned that trust, of course, and they will keep your secret forever. They do not gossip. They know how to, because that will feel like a big betrayal to them if somebody did that to them. So they can be very powerful in that way, that they have inner knowledge, and you might always wonder, what do they know about me? What do they think about me? So the planets you look at the traditional ruler, which is Mars, and you look at the modern ruler, which is Pluto. So you go and have a look in your chart. What house is it in? What kind of life area will this play out? And you also look at what kind of aspects is happening to the ruler. And of course, do you have any planets in the first house? I've seen Scorpio rising, with the sun in the first house, for example, or Venus, and they might have a completely much more open, quality to them, and much more willing to share and open, and you wouldn't think this is a traditional Scorpio rising, because they get that other flavor, and it is determining how the soul expresses itself through the ascending sign. Then we have Sagittarius rising. It's a fire sign, it's a mutable sign, and the ruler is Jupiter. So here you have, usually whenever you have a fire sign, you have energy coming out, fast movements. They're usually very sporty. They need to be active with their bodies. This is a way of handling all that build-up energy, which very easily accumulate in the fire signs. It needs to be an outward expression because it's a yang energy, as opposed to the feminine sign, which is more, the yin energy. There's more going on internally. With the fire signs, they need to have more an outward expression. So usually they are full of optimism and enthusiasm and yay, this is exciting, let's try that. And they're open to new things, they're adventurous. They can also be a bit of daredevils. Together with the Aries, they are the daredevils of the zodiac. They need to challenge themselves, and sometimes they need to challenge themselves physically as well to see how far can they go and overcome the fear of doing something a little bit dangerous. So usually they love to move around, to travel, they're curious, they always want to open their horizon. But again, looking at what is Jupiter doing in the chart, where is it placed? What other planets is it playing with? That will give you a flavor. And of course, if you have, let's say, Saturn in the first house, that will really moderate your expression as a Sagittarius rising. If you have Saturn in the first house, and that goes for all the ascending signs, you become a bit more serious, a bit more like grounded and more sensible, more realistic about things. Whereas Sagittarius rising would say, yeah, let's go. This is a fantastic opportunity. If you have Saturn there, you go, no, wait a minute, we don't have all the facts. Let's find out before we make a move. So that will definitely color, your expression if you have a Sagittarius rising. Then we have Capricorn rising, which is ruled by Saturn. It's an earth sign and it's a cardinal sign. So they are the natural born leaders in a zodiac sign, but not in a self-pompous way, much more like just taking the leadership naturally. And they have, inside of them, they have a confidence because they've done the due diligence. They have looked into stuff and they know what they're talking about. A little bit in contrast to Aries, they also have a leadership, but they go by the gut feeling and yeah, this feels right. Yeah, it's probably going to turn out right. Capricorn rising will think a lot about all the components. They put them together, they test it in their mind before they come out and suggest something. So that's why when they speak, people listen to Capricorn rising because they say, okay, they've done the homework. They know what they're talking about. They are trustworthy in that way. And they're not scared to go and take, initiative and responsibility. Some people might shun the responsibilities, that's no fun. But with Capricorn rising, that means that they get to express a very natural leadership quality about themselves. And they thrive in that. That's a way of really expressing who they are. So usually they're ambitious. They are mature in the way that they want everything to count. All the steps they take, they have to have meaning and they have to have, a thought and a goal behind it, so to speak. Then we have Aquarius rising. It's an air sign. It's a fixed sign, and they are, they like conversation, they like new ideas, they like to study, and they like to think ahead. They do like to live in the moment as well, but there is this quality that they want to, sometimes they have like a sixth sense of what's coming. They can sort of sense in the air that, they're ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is like a futuristic type of planet. It likes to be a little revolutionary, like doing things their own way, be a little bit different than other people, like to stand out. They're not so concerned with what other people think about them. Like, for example, the Venus rule signs like Taurus and Libra, they're very concerned what other people think about them. But, Aquarius with Uranus as the ruler, and as a the traditional ruler, is Uranus, and they are absolutely thriving on being unique, and they do not like to be told that they are like everybody else. So Saturn is the sort of the traditional ruler, and this means that they, in one way, they want to be different, but in another way, they also want to fit in. So they want to fit in with a group. They think it should not be about everybody sticking out for themselves, but there should be some common goal. So you have this like funny or interesting mix about wanting to stand out, but also wanting to belong. They want to belong with the group, with the same ideology, with the same ideas. And they can have very sort of unique features. It can be something about them that's like a spark in the eyes, or something with how they hold themselves, the body shape, something unique. They are innovative, they are independent, they like to go their own way. Finally, we have Pisces rising. I mentioned Pisces a little bit in the beginning. You know, this is the water sign. Is ruled by Jupiter as the traditional ruler, and as a modern ruler we have Neptune here, and it's also a mutual sign. So usually they are going very much with intuition. They are very tuned in with spirituality, and they're very tuned into other people's moods as well, in a different way than, for example, Cancer, which is very focused on, you know, family. Here they are going a little bit further, you know, philosophy, religion, you know, how we all fit into the world, and what feels right and what doesn't feel right. And they can always want to lift up from the more grounded world, and they want to float off in art, in dreaminess, in imaginative states. So you look, but then again, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you have Saturn in the first house, or if you have Pluto, you have Mars in the first house, or making an aspect to the ascending sign, that will make them, it will really give another flavor. For example, if you have Mars sitting there, you know, instead of being always the empathic one and the one thinking about other people, when you have Mars sitting on your ascending sign, you might be pulling away from that and be more like, but I also need to count. I also want to do what I want to do, and I'm going to overrule, you know, what everybody else think I should be doing for the good of the masses, whatever it might be. It's also like a mutable sign. It means it is easily influential, and it can take a lot of input from other people. But essentially, it does want to dream away a bit, and it does want to connect with something bigger outside themselves, like religion, philosophy, or some direction in life that makes sense to them as they move through life. So this is a little bit about our ascending signs and the 12 signs, and a little bit about how we can look at the ruler to see what else is going on. How is that influencing my ascending sign expression? The same with any planet in your first house, or any planets that is making aspect to your ascending sign. This will all give a flavor of, you know, the window into your soul, or the gateway into your soul, and it becomes the way that you do you, and not just as a mask that people see, but really, you know, for example, like your ascendant ruler, in what house it is and what sign, it will say something about your mission, you know, is your direction in life. And in order for you to fulfill your purpose, this is really important to look at, to get that more 360 view on who you are behind that ascendant sign mask. So if you want to share your ascending sign in comments below, if you want to, you know, make any comments, I'd be more than happy to hear it. And thank you so much for watching, and I see you next time. I'll stop share, sorry. See you next time.